So welcome back. We are doing our next video where we look at the best year of cinema for the decade of 1990 to 1999. Now, unlike the 2009 video I've already made, which there was one clear contender, this one was a little harder. There was really good years from 1990, 1992, 94, 97, and what we settled on was 99, which was just sort of pipped the post with just a little bit more breadth and depth and consistency. And we'll go through some of our favourites from that year that we have here on disc. Firstly, we need to look at Fight Club here, a wonderful film, breakthrough film, really interestingly presented from a directorial point of view, interesting storytelling, great characters, and wonderful performances from Ed Norton and Brad Pitt, as well as Helena Bonham Carter. This was actually the first DVD I ever owned was Fight Club, and it's such a great set with so many great special features, and it was nice to upgrade it to Blu-ray and all those special features and some more be intact. And we can't talk about 99 without talking about Stanley Kubrick's last film, Eyes Wide Shut. Could have been his masterpiece. I just really don't think Nicole Kidman was very good in the role. Some scenes are just cringe-worthy and make it hard for me to actually get through the scenes because she's so terrible. Tom Cruise is wonderful in it, so is pretty much everyone else. The score, the way it was shot, the story is based on an old story which was filmed once before in Austria, called Trom Novel, which was also excellent. But there's a few added layers and different things that Stanley Kubrick's trying to talk about in his version in a more subtle way, as well as telling the original story as closely as he did. So great film, not perfect, but still wonderful. Of course, one of the great trilogies, the Toy Story trilogy. It's probably my least favorite of the trilogy, but still such an entertaining. Pixar just at the height of their powers with these Toy Story films, and number 2 is a great time. Roman Polanski's underrated The Ninth Gate also came out this year, and Johnny Depp playing a character rather than just some quirky caricature which nobody likes. Johnny Depp has very few good films where he tries to play a more well-rounded character, and this is one of them. It's obviously not as in-depth as something like he played in Donnie Brasco, but he certainly doesn't ruin this film like he does many others. One of Michael Mann's best, The Insider. Russell Crowe is probably his best performance. Al Pacino's great, based on true events. He's turned in a sort of a court battle investigation into the tobacco industry into something that feels like a high tension thriller. You feel the danger. Wonderful score. Really amazing film. Here is such a wonderful movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley, by the late Anthony Minghella as the director. Feels like an old world golden era classic in its setting and tone, and this book adaptation is. I'm a big fan of the original adaptation with Alain Delon, but I think this one pips it. It's just such a masterclass in filmmaking, and the performances, one of Matt Damon's best performances, if not his best. Jude Law is great, Gwyneth Paltrow's great, Kate Blanchett, Philip Seymour Hoffman has a wonderful little role. He also had one of Jim Jarmusch's best films, much more of a through-line narrative for him. Forrest Whitaker's excellent in Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. Highly recommend. More of a mainstream film here, in Thomas Crown Affair, a remake, a very loose remake of the original with Steve McQueen, and much better than the Steve McQueen film. Good fun. And one of the few Cronenberg films I like, Existenz, This little low-budget gem is really interesting, really fun film. I recommend you check it out. Along with The Fly and The Dead Zone are pretty much the only 3 films of Cronenberg's I really like enough to own. And Jude Law and Jennifer Jason Leigh together here, doing some good work. And that year also brought us Magnolia, which from Paul Thomas Anderson, which is a good but flawed film. I prefer the first 2 hours to the third, but there's some amazing stuff in here. It's a little Altman-esque in its structure, somewhat like Shortcuts, but it has some amazing performances from Tom Cruise and Jason Robards and many others, and is certainly worth checking out if you haven't seen it. But that year also brought a lot of other interesting films, some of them somewhat successful. We had Payback from Mel Gibson, which the version we saw at the theatres that came out in '99 I certainly wouldn't recommend highly. It was an interesting enough film in its own right, but it's the director's cut, which is known as Payback Straight Up, which is included on this Blu-ray, which is really good. And if it had been actually released in '99 and not 2006, would have probably made my top 10 for '99, but I can't really release a film, put a film that wasn't released until 2006, no matter when it was made, in the top 10 in '99. But yeah, definitely check out the director's cut. There's also a lot of other interesting films in 1999, such as Bowfinger, Bringing Out the Dead, The Sixth Sense, Dogma, Galaxy Quest. And there was some films that didn't get their wide release in '99, like The Thin Red Line or Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. The Thin Red Line, of course, would be, if it hadn't had a limited release in '98, at the end of '98, would certainly be up for the #1 contender spot for '99, but it is a 1998 picture. Okay, so I'm going to count down my top 10 in order for 1999, and we will see you next time for our best year from the '80s.